Welcome to the most listened to golf in the world, the Fairways of Life show, on air, online, and around the world, with the most candid interviews, unforgettable stories, taking you beyond the ropes. Here's your host, New York Times best-selling author, Matt Adams.
What's going on, folks? Welcome into the Fairways of Life show. Super excited about the show that we have for you today because if I grabbed a category, any category, and I was talking to tour players and I said, tell me who the very best is in this particular category. Now, maybe it's not driving the golf ball. We'll get into driving the golf ball with one of the best, if not the best in the world, in just a second. But if it was a category like putting, which every one of you watching this show right now, it may be one time, but you can make a putt that is as good as the best in the world, right? It's part of the magic of the game of golf. But let's talk about putting. If I told you that coming up in just a few moments from now, we're going to have on the player that all of his peers say is the best putter on tour, right? That's what his peers say. He's the best. So now we're going to get a chance to pick the brain of the player right here, right now, that everybody else says he's the best. What does it mean? What's the magic behind being the best putter? I'm also curious about what it means on tour now, because it used to be drive for show, putt for dough, and now the stats almost seem more like it's ball strike for dough and putt for show. Or is it? We'll get into that in just a moment. But first, did you guys happen to see this past weekend, Rory McIlroy? He ended up finishing third, tied for third in Abu Dhabi. And along the way, we find out from Rory McIlroy, from his own account, that he locked himself away for 3 weeks to work on changes in his golf swing. And so much of professional golfers and so much of the PGA Tour, we're dealing with what you think a player is doing. I'll give you an example of what I mean. You go to your favorite grill room and quiz the people sitting around the table and say, okay, if you had to pick someone to make a 10-foot putt for your life, that old cliche, right? Who would you pick? How many of the people around that table would say, oh, I'd pick Jordan Spieth? Right? It's about impressions. Right? Dom, look up for me if you would. What is Jordan Spieth this past season? What is Jordan Spieth's stat, his ranking against the other tour players from 10 feet? Putting from 10 feet.
I knew you were going to ask me about the putting, Matt. So I was already looking it up because you were talking about it.
Yeah.
He's 148th on tour.
Jordan Spieth is 148th on tour. I'm curious what else you looked up you think I was going to get to. All right, so Jordan Spieth is 148th. 148th. That's not even close to average from 10 feet on tour, and yet there's the impression that he's the best of the best. Right? So when we talk about Rory McIlroy, the impression is that his ball striking is absolutely the best of the best. Take a look at these stats and tell me if they're not shocking to you. Proximity to the hole, 86th. Again, not close to average. From 200 to 225, 100th. 250 to 275, 110th. And then from this point on, now we're really getting into the bread and butter. 125 to 150 yards, he's 117th. This is the third-ranked player in the world. Greens in regulation, 122nd is his ranking. From 50 to 75 yards, he's 131st. And from 175 to 200 yards, which means he's starting with somewhere around an 8-iron, 152nd. Does that surprise you? So Rory locked himself away for weeks, practicing indoors too, so he said, working on fixing what he said is off with his golf swing. And that's where we're going to jump in today, because Luke Kerr-Dineen from Golf Digest, I think, did a really nice job of breaking this down, and he said he spoke to Rory about it, which will give you an indication of what possibly could Rory need to correct. You're looking at the numbers, so there's evidence there that there is a need of something. What is it? What was it? Here's Luke.
So Rory McIlroy is making some changes to his golf swing. But don't worry, I think they're very good changes. So a few months ago, I wrote this article about how Rory McIlroy's golf swing had changed over the years. Specifically, that the club was more across the line now. It was pointing more to the right of his target, and that his left wrist was a little more cupped than it had been in the past. Now listen, golf swings, they change all the time, and usually it's not a bad thing. It's actually often a really good thing. But in Rory's case, this new move seemed to get the club stuck too far behind his hands, which would often cause him to miss wide right with his iron shots. It's something you could see happening over and over again during the final 2 rounds of the US Open at Pinehurst last summer. And Rory was really annoyed about this, and you could tell because there was even this really interesting clip in Full Swing Season 1 where Rory finished T7 at the PGA Championship and said, "My technique, it's not good enough. I need to change it, and I should have changed it already." I think he was probably right, to be honest, and that's why he's starting to tune things up now. So I actually had a quick chat with Rory about this last week. Here's the video from that interaction. And he said that the cause of this across-the-line issue in his golf swing actually comes on the takeaway.
Right.
Because Rory tends to take the club outside of his hands with the club face shut. That can cause a series of events that can lead the club to get across the line. Because when that happens, his right arm gets high, and that kind of flips the club vertical, and that's what causes the cupped left wrist, and then again the club pointing to the right of his target across the line. And so that's why he's been spending weeks doing this drill, where he sets up with his arms and wrists pretty early, club head in line with his hands, and then from there, he just tries to turn everything together up to the top. And when he does this, it sets his structure early. You can see his left wrist is a little more flat now, less cupped. The club itself is less across the line. It's actually a little laid off here because he's over-exaggerating the feeling. And that, more in line with his hands, is kind of where he has been historically. But anyway, it's going to take some time for this to bed in Rory's golf swing, but I think it's a really smart upgrade, and I think it's going to work.
Luke Kerr-Dineen, courtesy of Golf Digest, with that piece, which I think was an excellent breakdown through his conversations with Rory McIlroy and observations in terms of where he was and where he is. Now, how is it working for Rory? This is where it continues, to me, to be a fascinating journey, because what you're about to hear, Dom and Andrew put together cuts of Rory pre-tournament after the first round, and that's when Rory had a 67. After the second round, Rory had a 67, and then after Rory finished, after he shot, a 64. Here's Rory McIlroy.
Yeah, I think I probably haven't liked the shape of my golf swing for a while, especially the backswing. So the only way I was going to make a swing change, or at least, move in the right direction with my swing, was to lock myself in a studio and not see the ball flight for a bit and just focus entirely on the movement. So did that for 3 weeks after the Dunhill. Started to get outside and hit some shots last week and see how it is. But I just didn't. I'm terrible at, if I'm trying to make a certain swing or a certain swing change and I start to misstrike it or not hit the shots that I want, I'll just revert back to what I was doing because it's comfortable. So I think doing this in the studio was a big key for me to just try to make a start on and getting the swing back to where I want it to be. But it's an ongoing process, as you know, to get out here and play when there's consequences to the shots that you hit. You're always going to revert back to what's comfortable. So, but hopefully the more that I do it over these next few months, it'll bed in and it'll get back to the shape that I want it to be in. Yeah, it felt okay. I've sort of gotten comfortable with doing this little rehearsal before I take the club back, and it felt fine. It yeah, I probably wasn't as I don't know, imaginative out there, or I was sort of hitting very straight shots, and I hit a couple where I didn't really see the picture of what I was trying to do with the ball flight, just because I was thinking a little bit too much on what I was doing with the swing. But overall, I'm quite fortunate that it's a nice week to come back, because there's not too much wind. It's it's pretty wide off the tee, so I can feel like I can concentrate a little bit more on what I'm trying to do with the motion. But yeah, overall it felt pretty good today. A little bit. I felt like I missed a few more shots to the right today that I didn't yesterday. So, with what I'm trying to do in my swing, sometimes I'll get the club face a touch open, going back, and then hard to square it up from there. So, sort of struggled a bit in left to right winds today. But, overall, I think, with you wanting to go out and perform well and score well, along with still trying to keep some of those feelings that I've had in my swing the last few weeks, I think it's been a good couple of days. Yeah, I played the first 6 and 4 under, and then when I was walking to the 13th tee, I said to myself, okay, if we can play the last 6 and 4 under and post 21, that would be, I did what I wanted to do. Made a good birdie on 13, made a unbelievably lucky birdie on 14. Made another good birdie on 15 after a great drive, and 16 and 17 are actually playing quite tricky. Good 2-putt on 16, give myself a chance on 17, hit a good putt, and then 2 good shots into the last. So I set myself a target with 6 holes to go, and I achieved that target, but it might still come up one short.
Matt, I got to jump in here. I think there's a really obvious question here. If Rory fixes this, if he makes this fix and it takes, what does it mean? Like, does this mean he now is winning 2 majors a year? Is this the secret sauce that's been missing?
It could be, because, again, if you look at the U.S. Open at Pinehurst, is where most people are going to go and say, well, it was all about what he did with the putter in those closing moments. But you have to get to that 71-plus holes before you have a moment like that on that stage. So I'm not taking away from the fact that a putter going sideways, call it scar tissue or call it influenced by circumstance and the difficulty of the putt before, et cetera, there are other factors there. However, when we see the Rory McIlroy that was on a run winning majors and a couple by outrageous leads over the rest of the field when it was all said and done, I believe that was the Rory McIlroy that had the control over the golf swing, and the mystery of why was he losing control with his golf swing in those high-pressure circumstances, particularly with the high-lofted clubs in his hand. And I believe that Luke hit it. I believe it was because of where he was on that swing path. So the quick answer to your question is, A, when the swing gets ingrained, because you just heard Rory say, quoting, thinking too much about what I was doing with the swing, close quote. And that happens when you're working on a swing change. So if he uses the weeks and months before him until Augusta National, yes, it's going to put him in a position where he's going to be much more equipped to win, because he's not trying to overcome the gaffes that he's had to over the last few years with the high lofted clubs in hand. I think it's absolutely fascinating. More of the Fairways of Life show, folks, coming up right after this. It is presented by the PGA Tour Superstore. They are the #1 golf retailer from coast to coast. You need it, you want it, you got to get it. Yes, it's inside of their big, beautiful stores, but I think their chief attribute is you are shopping with the pros.
I got ball fit in 2000, went on a little run. Then Bridgestone fit me again, and I went on another run. I just got fit again for the new Tour BX. The ball fitting's been helping me. Will it help you?
PGA Tour Superstore pros aren't born. They're made. Every January, hundreds of associates talk to the top manufacturers, learn about the latest clubs, test the newest equipment, log thousands of hours of training, and together, hit over 100,000 balls, all so they can get you the perfect fit.
I think when you're training for other sports, or why most people go to the gym is so that they can like have muscles and, you know, be strong and be healthy. And a lot of the reason why they struggle to play golf is their body doesn't move properly for them to be able to hit a golf ball. And when you're training for golf, it's a little bit different because you're focused more on flexibility and mobility and being strong in motion. When you're able to kind of have a warm up and have a workout routine and kind of gradually build up to where you're training your body to move properly, yeah, you're going to get a lot of big dividends on the golf course.
Our journey began with a simple yet powerful vision to provide the world with the highest quality Virginia-type peanuts. The Hubbard Peanut Company, where quality and tradition meet to create an unforgettable experience. Visit hubspeanuts.com to explore our full range of products and place your order today.
Super easy to hit. Introducing the new PXG Black Ops irons, our first game improvement iron.
It's a larger face heel to toe.
It launches the ball high in the air and really far.
Much higher levels of forgiveness. You set that club down, it creates a lot of confidence. It's supported by this X-Core column material.
And that's where you get improved ball speed. If you're looking for a distance, forgiveness, and feel, Black Ops iron is going to be for you.
PXG, nobody makes golf clubs the way we do, period.
Stride by Zero Friction, the first of its kind personal caddy. Walk in comfort and style with Stride's remote and follow me technology. The Stride handles almost any terrain, and its 54-hole range will last all day. The lightweight design and removable front wheels makes it simple to handle. Plus, it easily fits golf carts. Pick up your Stride today at a local PGA Tour Superstore near you or at zerofriction.com/Stride. Stride, your personal caddy.
Maddie here with you. We are back on the air talking about this, I don't know, it's like black magic to me, putting. And what if you were the player, this is what I was talking about at the top of today's show. What if you were the player that almost everybody else says, oh, he's the best putter on tour? Right? Is that a natural gift? Is that something you work on? I mean, I know a lot of people that work really, really hard on their putting, and they never reach the heights of those that are, and it's pretty easy to identify across the, history of the game, from Bobby Locke to the, Ben Crenshaws and the Brad Faxons of the world, Dave Stockton, the guru that he is with putting. Lauren Roberts was on with us recently talking about the mysteries of it. And it's something that we try to dig into. Dom, with the question of the day, did you end up going down the road? You told me before we went on the air, we're thinking about it. Did you go down the road and ask the question? And folks, if you want to answer the question of the day, go to our Fairways of Life YouTube channel. Did you base it on putting today? What did you put up?
Of course I did, Matt. And it's pretty straightforward for all the hackers out here.
Hackers.
Do you think you're a good putter? Is my question. And there's yes and no, and I gave a third option, which is I'm a broken golfer, which is certainly going to be a percentage of people. Currently, that percentage is 20 are just broken golfers, 20% of broken golfers. And 50% right now, 51 just moved, 51% do not think they're a good putter. I think we have someone that can help them right now.
Wow, that is interesting. 51%, more than half of those that have answered the question today. The question of the day is, do you think you're a good putter? 51% are like, no. In fact, 71% are either saying no or they're a broken golfer, as Dom phrased it. You can log on to our Fairways Life YouTube channel again if you want to vote on that. Denny McCarthy has won 4 times amongst the professional ranks. That includes winning on the Corn Ferry Tour. He's currently ranked 41st in the world. He's had 188 starts on the PGA Tour, 27 career top 10s. And remember, he had that runner-up at the Valero this year in the playoff loss. Finished inside the top 50. He's qualified for all signature events in 2025. He was 4th on tour in strokes gained putting. He had 824 putts from 3 feet and in, and he only missed 2. Shocking. We've got to break down those 2 putts to find out exactly what happened. Pleasure to have Denny joining us right now. Denny, what's going on, man? How you been?
I'm good, Matt. How you doing? Thanks for having me on this morning.
Pleasure to have you on. I've met your family. Our friendship was through our dear friend, Mark Carnevale. May his soul rest in peace. But I met your dad. I met your uncle. You guys are so immersed in the game of golf. What was the genesis of that? What is it with your family that has such a deep tie to the game?
Yeah, I think my dad's dad, my dad and his brother, my Uncle Mike, my Uncle Kevin, their dad, kind of got all of them into the game. And so they grew up at the same club that I grew up at, Argyle Country Club, in Silver Spring, Maryland. And that's kind of where I grew up in diapers, running around, learning how to play golf. My brother and I, our cousins, we had a great junior program up there. We had a bunch of friends. So summertime came around, we got dropped off and ran around and played golf. Went to the pool, played tennis. The next day we played tennis, pool, golf. We're just up at the club running around, and we had a great crew to, make it enjoyable. I was very competitive growing up. I played a lot of different sports. So I found a way to make golf really fun and creative at an early age, always, playing closest to the pin contests, putting contests, you name it. Just trying to kind of get into competition mode, game mode, fun mode, and finding ways to just enjoy it and love it.
All right, so I want to go down the road with that in just a second, but because you talked about your prowess as an athlete and your competitiveness in different areas, Andrew, do you have the video from Georgetown Prep? I don't know what year this is, Denny. You could tell us.
Yeah, this is my junior year of high school. It's like a rival game at Georgetown Prep versus Landon. Both of us had a really good team. This was at Georgetown Prep. This was a home game for us. I turned around there. That was our student section. They were going bananas. I made a 3 right in front of them. Our point guard there, Markel Starks, ended up going to Georgetown. I kind of started the year like a 9th or 10th man, and I wasn't playing much. And then the coaches kind of found out I could really shoot, and I kind of moved to like 6th man that year. So I kind of got put in, and I started playing more towards the second half of the year. I started playing a lot. And Markel, the point guard, could draw 2 or 3 guys and could, he was just so good at getting into the lane. So it worked out well for me. All I had to do was sit outside with a lawn chair and a umbrella and park myself on the 3-point line, and I got a lot of open shots from him.
When you made that shot, Andrew, get ready to pull up that video again. When you made that shot, did you turn and talk trash to the opposing fans right there? Right? Watch it. Watch this, folks. Right here.
No, that's our student section. That was our student section. So that was more so pumping up our student section that was already very pumped up. So it was kind of just getting them a little more hyped.
All right, just making sure. So, Dom, I want to bring you in for a second because before we went on the air today, we're watching this video. Dominic declared that Denny McCarthy is probably the best basketball player on the PGA Tour. What's your reaction to that? And, Dom, you can defend yourself in a second.
I don't know about overall basketball player. Maybe the best shooter. I don't know. I haven't played. It's not like we're out there, on Tuesday afternoons after we leave the golf course. We're not going to play pickup. Although that would be a lot of fun. That would probably be a really dumb idea. I actually just saw Gary Woodland yesterday, so I'm not going to claim that I'm a better basketball player than him, because if we played a game of 1-on-1. Gary's got a little bit of height and a little bit of weight on me, so I'm not gonna claim that I could beat Gary 1-on-1, because he could probably back me down in the lane and score pretty easily if I had to
Tony
guess.
Finau, I was thinking about. Okay, Dom, come on in. I realize that Denny is your spirit animal because of the way you love that he can shoot the basket.
I was going to actually bring up Gary Woodland because of his time at Kansas. He's obviously a very, very good basketball player. But I think, and Denny would remember, was it last year or 2 years ago? The PGA Tour did some shoot-around thing. It was like you and Mark Hubbard and Sahith Theegala and I think a few other guys. And you were roasting all those guys. And it seemed like some of them had not seen you before play. So you go out there, you knock down 3 or 4, and a couple of the guys are like, oh, we're going to have a problem here.
Yeah, they were, we had been, Harris English set it up. We were trying to set it up. And, I was like, I can shoot. He was like, let's do a 3-point contest. I was like, okay, I'm looking forward to that. I can make some threes. And they were like, okay, whatever. And then we got in the gym and we started shooting. I shot the ball well that day. And they were like, wow, I mean, you said you could shoot, but man, I had to see it to believe it. Yeah,
I think he's talking himself down, Matt. I think he could beat Gary Woodland one-on-one. I would pay to watch that. Yeah, I'm just saying. Put it on PGA Tour Live.
I was just going to say, we need to have a follow-up show because Denny's phone right now is exploding with text messages going, come on, from all the different players. Let me ask you this, though, Denny. When you're talking about being an athlete and you have that touch from the three-point line or whatever it is, however we define it, tennis otherwise, now we're talking about hand-eye coordination, about seeing the shot, executing the shot. Is this the same skill set for you when it comes to putting?
I believe so. Yes. I think a lot of that is incorporated into my putting. Kind of trying to be reactionary, trying to be an athlete, trying to use my instincts, my feels. My instincts and feels are really good. So when I'm trusting those, is when I'm at my best, and it's almost like I'm trying to make the putt without trying to make the putt, if that makes sense. I just get so immersed in my own little world. I've already kind of taken everything into account, and I'm just like so into the spot I've picked or the arc, the curve that I see around that spot, and it's. I'm not standing over a 10-footer, cup out being like, I have to make this putt. I have to make this putt. Yeah, I'd like to make the putt, but I'm focused on how I'm basically just going to hit the putt and where I'm hitting it. And I've already kind of taken all that into account to make it. So it sounds a little weird to say, but I think it's important that, you start hitting those good shots and they're close shots, and you don't want to put too much pressure on yourself. Like, I have to make this putt. You just go through your process, trust your instincts, let it fly. And once you hit it, there's nothing you can do about it. So really commit to the spot you've picked, let it go and move on. Sometimes it's a lot easier said than done. Golf's a very difficult game that we play, but I try and do that as much as possible.
Denny, I have to tell you, I have climbed the mount. I have spoken to the Dave Stocktons. I have spoken to the Ben Crenshaws. I have spoken to the Lauren Roberts, trying to solve the mystery of putting. And every one of them, including you just now, have that same very annoying line, which is to try to make the putt without trying. And everybody that hears that goes, what does that even mean? Hang with us, Dad. When we come back here, folks, we're going to hear from not just run-of-the-mill guys talking about the mysteries of putting and trying to do what the best of the best in the world do and how and why, which he did give us a piece of the menu there if you were listening to that recipe. But we're going to hear from one of the best in the world talking about Denny. Stay with us. More of the Fairways of Life show with Denny McCarthy coming up right after this.
In Ireland, golf is more than just a game. Come and experience our world-famous links courses and our world-famous parkland courses, all set alongside world-famous scenery. And visit our world-famous historic sites. And while you're here, enjoy our world-famous hospitality. Fill your heart with Ireland at ireland.com/golf.
Ben Hogan Golf Equipment is back. Established in 1953, we serve golfers who demand excellence of their equipment. Designed by the game's best engineers, forged in the world's best foundries, and built to order in the USA. Don't settle for off-the-rack disappointment. Elevate your game with custom clubs at direct consumer pricing. Exclusively at benhogangolf.com. That's benhogangolf.com.
The best feeling iron I've ever hit. Introducing the new Gen 7 irons, the greatest leap forward in irons technology, in performance, in PXG history. Our new quantum core material explodes off the face. Are you kidding me? The Gen 7 irons deliver groundbreaking new levels of forgiveness, speed, distance, and feel. That's what I'm talking about right there. Look at that trajectory. Just phenomenal. Gen 7. It doesn't get any better.
PXG, nobody makes golf clubs the way we do, period.
Baseball? Nah. Football? Done it. I think I'm going to go after PGA Tour.
Playing on the PGA Tour is not easy. But you know what is easy? Hitting the 524 series from Tour Edge.
Hitting linebackers and home runs used to be easy.
Out here, you're going to need all the easy you can get. Introducing the 524 series from Tour Edge. The easiest clubs you'll ever hit. Even the best players in the world can use a little easy.
I like the sound of that. Look out, PGA Tour.
Pound for pound, nothing comes close.
What would your ultimate golf experience be like? Just you and a friend? Or would you round up some buddies for a foursome? Just one day? Or an entire week? There's a good chance your ultimate golf experience could be Michigan's magnificent 10. 10 incredible courses set among 3 remarkable resorts. See for yourself. Book your ultimate golf experience today.
Our journey began with a simple yet powerful vision to provide the world with the highest quality Virginia-type peanuts. The Hubbard Peanut Company, where quality and tradition meet to create an unforgettable experience. Visit hubspeanuts.com to explore our full range of products and place your order today.
PGA Tour Superstore pros aren't born. They're made. Every January, hundreds of associates talk to the top manufacturers, learn about the latest clubs, test the newest equipment, log thousands of hours of training, and together hit over 100,000 balls, all so they can get you the perfect fit.
Welcome back to Fairways of Life show. That is Denny McCarthy. That is a player that many call the best putter in the world, including some of the best players in the world. This was Patrick Cantlay at a junior clinic. It was a clinic that he was holding in California for junior golfers. And this is what he had to say unprompted about putting and about Denny specifically.
So Denny McCarthy, any of you familiar with Denny McCarthy? Yep. The best putter in the world, bar none. Not even close. He led putting twice on tour, finished top 5 one year, finished top 10 the next year, okay? And he thinks of putting as very, very simple. He lines it up and tries to stripe the line and tries to get really good at hitting at the speed he wants and striping the line and reading the greens correctly. How simple can it be? So he had a friend who was putting poorly, and he said, line it up. So he lined it up with the big black line that goes across the ball, and the guy hit putts, and he kept hooking the putts, okay? Denny told him to go hit slices for 30 minutes with his putt. So he just walked around the putting green and sliced it for 30 minutes. Came back 30 minutes later, lined it up, and said, okay, just putt. And he rolled it, striped it. So Denny would say that's the best practice you could possibly do.
Okay, so Patrick Cantlay himself saying that it's not even close that Denny McCarthy is the best putter in the world, courtesy of the Golfers Journal, that video. Here we are looking at those stats that Patrick Cantlay was referencing. In 2019, he was first on the PGA Tour. In 2020, first the PGA Tour, plummeted in 2021. We got to dig into that. 22nd on the PGA Tour. In 22, back up to second. In 23, he's third. In 24, he's fourth. Total putting, second on tour. Putts per round, second on tour. Overall putting average, third on tour. Putting from 3 feet, shockingly missed 2. As Denny McCarthy is our guest. Denny, what's your reaction when you hear from someone of the stature of Patrick Cantlay in the game telling a bunch of kids that you are, bar none, not even close, quote, quote, the best putter in the world?
Yeah, I mean, that's a great compliment. I've gotten to know Pat a little better over the last couple of years. He lives down here in Jupiter, Florida. So that was probably around a time where we were playing some rounds together, and he was picking my brain a little bit. And yeah, I mean, you hear him explain it, I try and keep it pretty simple. If I saw that from someone, if they were hooking their putts, it makes sense to counter that a little bit, right? Like if you want to hit it down your line, you to get that feel, you need to counter it. You need to go the other way a little bit, and then you go back to just hitting putts normally, and you're going to be more coming into the ball more square. So that's kind of what I'm always kind of tweaking here and there. It's almost like a trial and error process for me. I've come up with the system that really works for me. Call it 10 to 15 years ago, where I like to use the line on my ball. I train by hitting a lot of putts in close and seeing that line roll end over end, so I know my face is coming in square. And then from there, I take it to putts around the greens or when I get on the course. And from there, I'm kind of just picking spots that stand out in, anything that stands out in my eyesight, that's along the curve of my putt, whether that's a ball mark, a discoloration of grass, something that stands out to my eye that I can use to line up my ball basically. And then I kind of see the curve or the arc of the putt around that spot or on that spot or underneath that spot. It like I said, I use my instincts. Even if I see a spot, I put the line down on it. I stand over top of it. I'll stand over top. This feels too low to me. I feel like it actually needs to be higher than that ball mark. So I'm still using that ball mark, but then I'm just kind of going high of it. A lot of it is instinctual, just standing over the putt and simply being like, this feels too low, or it feels like I need to hit this putt too hard. So I'm gonna just add a little more break to it, stand over it. Okay, that feels really good to me. So just a lot of it is instinctual. People don't even realize, like, I play down in Florida a lot. It's really windy. It's been blowing 20 miles an hour plus out of the east every day. Wind affects putts. It does. People might want to argue me on that, but it starts blowing a decent amount. The wind will affect the putt. So if I have a right edge putt from 10 feet and the wind's blowing off the right, well, it doesn't really become a right edge putt anymore. You're starting to look, maybe a couple balls out, a cup out, maybe if it's really blowing, maybe even a cup and a half out. I actually, now that I'm talking about this, I had a putt at Q school way back when, and it was at PGA National. It was blowing 35 in the final round. And I had a ball out left putt, left edge putt, but it was blowing 35 off the right. And I played this left edge putt, a cup out right, and I made it. And like, I just felt that when I'm over it, that the wind is really going to hit. I was playing wind instead of break, basically. So I trusted my instincts. I really used my instincts. I just felt like if I played this left edge putt at the left edge, that the wind was just going to hit it and it wasn't going to allow it to break. So I played it outside the right, a half a cup to a cup. So it's just those little things that when I stand over it, I feel like this is going to miss left, this is going to miss right. And I try and find the in between of, what feels right to me.
Who seeks you out on the putting green and comes up and goes, dude, can you help me out with this a little bit, or watch my putting stroke, and what do you think?
There's been people that have sought me out, and I'm kind of done giving them putting lessons, because those guys are really good ball strikers and really good players, and I don't want to give them too many of my secrets, because I'm trying to beat them. So if I give them my secrets, and they start putting really well, I'll help my good buddies every now and then. But I'm trying to, again, I can tell them what I do, but it's a lot of what I do is instinctual, reactionary, athletic. You still need to see the greens the right way. You can have a perfect stroke and miss every putt if you're not seeing the greens the right way.
All right,
So,
well, we're going to get that. I want to ask you some foundational questions about that. But first, since you brought up your buddies, have you heard from Gary Woodland yet? Has he sent you a text here this morning?
He has not. I don't know if he's watching or not. I saw him yesterday. I didn't tell him I was coming on, so I don't know if he was looking out for this or not. But it was good. I hadn't seen Gary in a little while, so it was good catching up and talking with him yesterday. We played down at Pine Tree, where Gary's a member. My coach works out of there, so It was fun. I might hear something from him. I mean, it should only be good things. I basically said it on air that he would beat me one-on-one in basketball, so I was giving him a compliment.
I don't know. I think there's something starting here. All right, let me ask you those foundational questions, though, in all seriousness. Does it matter to you when you're look, say you're playing in a pro-am, not even going to ask you about other pros at this point. You're playing in a pro-am, say. Does it matter to you when you see stance, grip, putting arc, type of putter, any of that? Does that come in any way? Does that factor into your mind?
For amateurs or for other
for anybody?
Other
yeah,
pros?
but yeah, amateurs basically. What
Yeah,
I'm trying to
I mean,
figure out
not
is
necessarily
things people at home can learn from.
Not necessarily doesn't matter to me because in my mind, you know, you could take the putter back 100 different ways, but if you've trained yourself to bring the head in square and you're aiming properly and hitting your spot, then good. If that's the way you're most comfortable hitting your line, then I wouldn't touch it. But if somebody's doing that and they're struggling to hit their line, then I would maybe step in and say a thing or two. I've played in plenty of pro-ams where I've given guys tips. You know, whether they're misreading greens. I've even personally, like, you know, lined up somebody's ball for all 9 holes in a pro-am, and I've just lined it up and I just said, just hit it down this line. Basically, that's where you want to hit it. And I think it might have even been San Antonio, Valero, where I played really well this year. I think that pro-am, some guy made probably 4 putts outside of 20 feet in 9 holes, with me just lining up his ball. So that was actually that was really funny. He was like, "Oh my gosh, this is the best day. This is the best day ever. Like, I love golf now." And so I think it depends. If somebody has their own unique way, but they're hitting good putts, they're hitting their line, they're doing good things, their speed's good, then there's no need to touch that really, because it seems like they've got a really good grasp and feel on how, they own their own putting style. But it doesn't have to be a certain way. For me, I have my certain way. I found out what works for me. I think it's just, everybody's a little different. You need to find out what works best for them. I pick spots along the way, typically halfway point or sometimes even closer to me, to kind of see the arc of the putt. Some people might not see that as well. Some people might see something even closer. Some people might like, okay, this 20-footer is 2 cups out. Maybe they draw a direct line 2 cups out and just move it over from the hole. And maybe they see looking, they might see looking at that better than, tracking something along the way. It's just, they need to figure out how they see it the best, what works best for them, basically.
Yeah. You mentioned earlier, you used the phrase of reaction to target in reference to being a multi-sport athlete and how it translates from whether you're trying to make a basket or whether you're trying to make a putt or what have you. So are you one when you're going through this whole process and you have your putter down, you're about to go, do all technical thoughts leave your mind at that point? Are you ever thinking about technical execution, or is it simply reacting to target then?
Yeah, simply reacting to target. I do my 5-10 minutes on the putting green every day of, I guess you could call it technical work. I don't really think of it as very technical. It's just kind of finding my feel for the day. And it's something that I always do. It's just to kind of recalibrate every day. And then once I get out on the course, and start hitting putts, I'm simply reacting to target and the spot that I've picked, and all mechanical, technical thoughts go out the door.
Awesome stuff. Denny, I want to talk to you about a couple of other things, too, when we come back for this break. One of them is, I remember Lee Trevino saying, I'm paraphrasing, but it's very close to the actual quote, where he said, God doesn't give everything to everybody. And he was talking about Jack Nicklaus and the fact that Jack was not great out of bunkers, right? Well, he doesn't hit a lot of bunkers back in the day, so when he was in it, it wasn't something they had a lot of familiarity with. But nonetheless, it was probably the weakness of his game and that estimation. I want to talk to you about ball striking. And I'm not suggesting it's a weakness of yours. I want to know what you view as, if putting is my strength, here's the other area that I would like or need to work on. And what does ball striking mean to the game in general at its highest competitive tiers? Our conversation with Denny McCarthy continues right after this.
I got ball fit in 2000 and went on a little run. Then Bridgestone fit me again, and I went on another run. I just got fit again for the new Tour BX. The ball fitting's been helping me. Will it help you?
What would your ultimate golf experience be like? Just you and a friend? Or would you round up some buddies for a foursome? Just one day? Or an entire week? There's a good chance your ultimate golf experience could be Michigan's magnificent 10. 10 incredible courses set among 3 remarkable resorts. See for yourself. Book your ultimate golf experience today.
I think when you're training for other sports, or why most people go to the gym is so that they can have muscles and be strong and be healthy. And a lot of the reason why they struggle to play golf is their body doesn't move properly for them to be able to hit a golf ball. And when you're training for golf, it's a little bit different because you're focused more on flexibility and mobility and being strong in motion. When you're able to kind of have a warm-up and have a workout routine and kind of gradually build up to where you're training your body to move properly, yeah, you're going to get a lot of big dividends on the golf course.
Super easy to hit. Introducing the new PXG Black Ops irons, our first game improvement iron.
It's a larger face heel to toe.
It launches the ball high in the air and really far.
Much higher levels of forgiveness. You set that club down, creates a lot of confidence. It's supported by this X-Core column material.
And that's where you get improved ball speed. If you're looking for a distance, forgiveness, and feel, Black Ops iron is going to be for you.
PXG, nobody makes golf clubs the way we do, period.
Stride by Zero Friction, the first of its kind personal caddy. Walk in comfort and style with Stride's remote and follow me technology. The Stride handles almost any terrain, and its 54-hole range will last all day. The lightweight design and removable front wheels makes it simple to handle. Plus, it easily fits golf carts. Pick up your Stride today at a local PGA Tour Superstore near you or at zerofriction.com/Stride. Stride, your personal caddy.
Every January, PGA Tour Superstore pros meet every manufacturer, learn about the latest equipment, log thousands of hours of training, and together hit over 100,000 balls. All so they can get you the perfect fit.
That is Denny McCarthy. Welcome back to the Fairways of Life show. Matt here with you. Dom and Andrew are behind the glass. Dom, any change in the question of the day? Go to our Fairways of Life YouTube channel and you can weigh in. The question was, if I remember correctly, was simply, do you think that you're a good putter? What are the people saying now?
Yeah, I guess apparently Denny can just talk and he fixes people, because now it's 52% are saying, you know what? I am. I can do this.
Good. I mean, it probably...
I can do it.
Yeah, Denny, it probably shows you that feeling like you can make the putt, visualizing that you're going to make the putt probably plays a pretty important role in building up your confidence that you can actually do it. Is that true?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I think a big part of the reason why I'm a good putter is because I feel like I'm going to make it. I have the mentality. I've kind of gone through the steps in the process that I'm going to make this putt. It doesn't matter if it's 5 feet to me or 50 feet. Like I'm trying to make the putt. Now that doesn't mean I'm going to try and make this 50-footer and knock it 10 feet by. I'm still trying to make it with, the least stress possible and with the proper pace. But I've kind of gone through the steps to hit the putt like I'm trying to make it. So it's a lot of it's a mentality and a mindset for me also. Kind of, I've said it before. It's kind of like playing, defense in basketball. You might not be the biggest or tallest guy, but you can put a lot of effort into still playing some good defense.
So back in the day, as you well know, the cliche used to be drive for show and putt for dough. But when we look at the modern game right now, Scotty Scheffler, even a Rory McIlroy, Colin Morikawa, I could go on and on. It seems as though it's now ball strike for dough and putt for show. Has the balance and the importance of putting switched in the modern game?
I don't know if it's switched. I think it's, driving is very important on tour. There's a lot of, obviously hitting it far, you're always going to have an advantage. If you can hit it far and straight, you really have an advantage. And then if you could take advantage of that and hitting quality wedges, short irons, and then you get into mid, you don't need to be perfect with the mid to long irons, but if you're really sharp, with your scoring clubs, your attacking clubs, call it 8 iron and in, you can do a lot of really good things in golf, and especially on the PGA Tour. So that's an area of the game that I've improved in a lot. I'm still always working on it. I'm always trying to improve. For example, yesterday I played a round of golf. Didn't really like how I drove it. Came home for a couple hours. It bugged me a little bit. I went back out and tried a few things and felt like I found something last night before sunset. So um, I'm always trying to find ways to get better. And obviously the, kind of the strokes gained approach and driving are things that I'm trying to, catch up a little bit to my putter. If I don't need to be perfect, but if I can be consistent, most weeks, and just giving myself good quality looks, I'm gonna play some good golf. So, um, I'm always working on it. I've gotten a lot better. My coach and I have put in some really good work over the last 3 or 4 years, and it's getting there. At times it feels really good, at times it doesn't. Just got to try and make it feel really good a lot of the time.
Yeah, you're willing to visualize a putt going in from anywhere because that's your nature. Are you willing to have that same visualization in terms of breaking through and winning on the PGA Tour? Are you close?
Yeah, I mean, I've given myself a number of good opportunities over the last couple of years, and just haven't quite knocked the door down. I was kind of on the outside looking in at San Antonio last year. I went on an unbelievable run on the back nine on Sunday to give myself a chance. I played some really good golf that week. That was probably some of the best golf I played all year. It was some windy, tricky conditions early in the week that I fought through and played really well in. Obviously, Memorial a couple years ago, I played really well throughout that week. I like that style of golf, more U.S. Open. Pars are really good kind of golf, but I can play birdie golf too. I'm not just I'm not a one trick pony. I feel like when my game is in a good spot, I can make a lot of birdies. And if it's a really hard golf course, I know how to manage my game around the golf course. I think that's probably the best part of my game is how I think around the golf course and how I manage my golf game and how I just score the ball, basically, not trying to become too perfect and think about golf swing. It's it's kind of just, even when you don't have it, how can I scrape it around today and still shoot 2-3 under par and give myself another chance to fight another day, find something on the range later that day, and then come out the next day and find a way to, be better than yesterday. And, maybe the next day I'm firing on all cylinders. So it's kind of like a survive and advance. Some days you just need to scrape it around, score the ball. And sometimes those are some of your better rounds. Sometimes I have rounds where I feel like everything's really good and I don't get a great score out of it, but that can just be golf. Sometimes it's like I said earlier, it's a really hard game.
We only have about a minute and a half left here with you, Denny, but you've got a great team around you. You're in all of the signature events heading towards 2025. We've already talked about the strengths of your game. When you look at the table being set before you for everything that stands ahead, it seems to an observer's position that you're in a pretty good place.
Yeah, I'm in a great place. I've gotten better each of the last couple of years. I'm into all the signature events, like you mentioned, which is a great place to be. It's kind of allowed me to get some, the PGA Tour has done a good job where, if you play well, I'm fortunate enough to get some rest and downtime this fall. I've got a great team behind me, like you mentioned. all my sponsors, my agency, my team behind me, my family, my friends. I'm very lucky and blessed to be where I am. It's not just me playing golf. There's so much that goes on behind the scenes. My wife's been such a rock for me. She's super supportive, and she allows me to be able to go out and do what I do. And at the end of the day, all I have to do is go play golf, because everyone's done such a amazing job of putting me in this position. So I'm very lucky. The journey's not over. I look forward to getting better, and hopefully knocking the door down here soon, and maybe have some victories and many more to come.
Well, please say hi to your dad for us. Say hi to Uncle Mike for us. Wish everybody the very, very best. And coming into the festive period, we wish you guys the best through the holidays as well. We are super excited for everything that lies in store for you, Denny, in 2025 and beyond, because to everybody's eyes, including ours, obviously, I feel like you're on the threshold of whatever you want, and we hope that you fly as high and as far as you desire. Thank you very much for your time. Look forward to catching you down the road.
Yeah, thanks for having me on, Matt. Really appreciate it.
It was good to see you. All right, Denny McCarthy joining us here on the Fairways of Life show. Hope you guys have a great day, and hope you're able to, grab some pearl of wisdom from what Denny was talking about. This idea of, remember what he said, you kind of have to find your own way in putting, but a lot of it is about finding the proper path to start it on and tracking the ball to the hole, that control, right? It's amazing. Thanks so much. Bye for now.